Hey guys, welcome back. So as you can see here, we have a couple of goodies and the WLToys 104001. Like most people, we got into the buggy for $150-ish and quickly realized that it's no speed demon in its factory trim, but that's to be expected. Um, in my intro video, I kind of mentioned that I think WLToys knows that people are buying these platforms as a base, almost like a ready-to-run kit, kind of. I don't think they believe that the stock systems stay in these vehicles long. And in my case, it's been less than 7 days, and I've already picked up some things to try to put in there. So the genesis of this build was a subscriber of mine, early subscriber of mine named Rory, had sent this red cap motor for my voltage build that has the 85 amp ESC, Spectrum 85 amp, and the Spectrum 3S brushless motor. I think it's a 3900 kV off the top of my head. That went into the project overbuild or overkill voltage. So he sent this for that, but since I already had this Spectrum system, I decided it was around the same time to build one of the speed build buggies, the brushless speed build buggies, and the 124019 was already really popular, and there were some rumblings about this truck coming out. So I made a reserve from Maker Fire, and they sent me a code and all the other shenanigans, and I got the truck, or I got the buggy. Suffice to say, it's brushed, it's slow. It has good acceleration, but the top speed is slow. It's my first buggy, so I kind of feel like that's characteristic of the genre this is in. So I don't want to be too critical of that. But like I said, it doesn't really matter. I don't think most people buy this with the intent of keeping it a 550 brushed motor. I believe most people are going to do some brushless swaps on them, or give them to children, or first time RC users or something like that. So with that said, I didn't want to go too crazy like my voltage build, which was like something in the realm of $400 or $500 worth of parts on a $99 vehicle. So this is mostly stuff I had laying around or was given to me. So we'll go over some of the components here, and we'll do a little bit of teardown and talk about some of the maintenance things you'll have to do on this. I know I'm late to it. Most of the good information can be found on many other more reputable, larger RC channels, particularly the dudes at 10th Scale Garage. I know they've been doing a lot of work with this one, and their video on the teardown is probably one you should watch if you're interested in this or have one. Anyway, let's get into these parts. So the first thing is we're going to be putting in this Red Cat 3650 3800 kV motor. I believe Rory said this was out of a I want to say a Volcano or maybe a Blackout. Anyway, it's basically brand new. He's never really run it from what I understand. I see just a little bit of wear in some of the part or some of the surfaces on it where maybe some kind of grime or dirt got into the chassis or whatever. But we're gonna give that a try. This is the S651 servo. the 7 kilogram servo that came out of my Big Rock. That one has the 25 kilogram servo that everyone gets from Amazon, so this one was laying around. This is not the horn that goes on it. Public service announcement. This is a 25 tooth servo horn that comes with the those 20 and 25 kilogram metal gear servos. I have a feeling this is going to fail because this is 23 teeth, this is 25 teeth. I split the horn with a screwdriver and then just cinched these tight. It's on there, but I have a feeling over time this isn't going to last long. I don't necessarily care about the servo or the horn, so I'm willing to use them as sacrificial tests. Also, if you guys have ARMA vehicles laying around, especially some of the 3S line, you might have this servo available, and if this works, then you can follow this kind of upgrade path. The other thing we're putting in here is the Spectrum Firma 85 amp ESC. This is the same one I have in my Granite Voltage. I really like it. I do have a spare BLX 100, but I'm mostly going with this one because the connector. I have a few more 3S batteries with the EC3 connector, and the Big Rock BLX 100 is a IC5. So I'm gonna start with this one, depending on what the speed looks like and the performance on it. If we need to go bigger on the motor or we need to get more juice, then I'll pop in that BLX 100. But I'm gonna start with this one for now. And then just because I like it so much on my Voltage, I picked up another Dumbo RC. This is the 6-channel with the gyro. I gotta be honest, I never really used the gyro on my Granite or my Voltage, so I'm not sure if I'll use it on here, but they're only like a $2 or $3 difference between the two, and I already had a spare one of these laying around, so we're gonna use this. Alright, let's get these items unboxed and take a look at how they might arrange in the chassis here. I believe there's going to be enough room. It definitely, I mean, it's a little tight, but it looks like there's going to be enough room. Also, for longtime viewers or any subscribers of mine, I got a new desk. This work surface, the old one I had, which was a Cobalt miter saw table, it was mostly usable for the Big Rock and the other 10th scale vehicles, but I was trying to do some videos on my Corrali Punisher and even work on my Kaiju, and it just became clear that that surface was too small. So while I was walking through Walmart, I found this table, which I think is the same thing. I think it's a miter saw table. I don't know if you can see these lines, but it seems like what they want you to do is line up some wood for miters or whatever. But it's about twice the size. I couldn't find any prices in the store, but it's about, I paid $50 for it. The woman at the cash register had to look it up. She couldn't find anything, so she Googled it, and a price came up of $50. So if you're interested in a pretty large work surface, it's hard to relay the size of this, but this is, you know, a 10 scale vehicle, and you could probably put 3 of them on here. So, you know, use that as a frame of reference. But I like this table. It folds up really nicely. I can put it in my truck and take it with me in the field or whatever. The legs come off of it, so it's basically just becomes kind kind of like a little suitcase or whatever, because the legs tuck into it, and there's a built-in little toolbox inside the bottom side of this. Anyway, some people ask about the table and the mat and whatnot, so I figured I would address it. All right, let's get these items out. I'm trying to be a little more direct. I thought it was funny, but somebody sent me a direct message kind of critiquing the length of my videos. I laughed out loud because I thought it was funny. He told me I'm the type of guy that could make a 30-minute video on how to make toast. I get his sentiment. I totally understand it, and I thought it was hilarious. So I'm going to try to be a little more succinct. But I tend to over-explain, so I don't know. Some of that's in my personality, and we might not be able to do anything about that. Anyway, this is the Dumbo RC. It's very popular. If you are in the market for a receiver transmitter combo and don't want to drop a few $100s, especially if you only have 1 or 2 trucks or whatever, this is great. I know a lot of people like it. I really enjoy this one. The only thing I don't like about it is, for filming purposes, I like to have a foam wheel and have the wheel a little closer to my thumb so that I can drive while holding a camera. But you know, that's pretty unique to people who are trying to film their bash sessions. But other than that, it's just a pretty great radio and transmitter system. It has all the things you need, some things you don't, that you might not ever use, and it feels pretty good in your hand. It's a good size for it, and the range is really good. Now I know a lot of people like these, speedrun people like these because of the range and the gyro. But yeah, you can pick these up for, I think they're $40 now. They were 30-something bucks a few months ago, but keep your eye on it. If you're not in dire need of it, I'm sure the price will return to normal. You can get these in the $30 range. This guy, I don't recommend buying this individually. Basically, you can get the kit for $99, which is the ESC and the motor. I bought a spare ESC just assuming that it might fail. And I didn't necessarily want to wait for the warranty, so I had a second one on hand just in case. Turns out it's pretty reliable. As a matter of fact, I've gone through more BLX 100s than 85 amps. I've never broken one of these, and I've had the Big Rock one busted twice. But it's pretty good so far. My speeds on 2S are 36 miles an hour, and I think I don't have it recorded, but I got about 41 or 43 miles an hour on 3S on the Granite, which is pretty significant in my opinion. I also like this has the when you start it up, it has the beeps and a cool like startup animation or startup noise. It's not performance, but it's kind of cool. The package for this includes obviously the ESC, but there's some VHB to stick this in your chassis, and depending on your model, there might be a screw place where you can screw down your power button, but it also includes some double-sided tape for that. And then there's a programming guide. Looks like you can control battery type, the punch, brake force, running mode, motor rotation, and the Beck voltage, which is pretty cool. I think I like seeing ESCs that have Beck voltage. at least the 7.4 option. The defaults are LiPo for battery type. The punch setting is level 3 of 5. The brake force is 62.5. Running mode is general standard, which is forward, reverse, and brake. Motor rotation is counterclockwise, and the factory BEC voltage is 6 volts. I'm probably going to leave that at 6 on this servo just so that I don't prematurely melt it. But generally speaking, I move those up. If the ESC is capable, I move that to 7.4. Alright, so we got this out of the box. Let's do a quick kind of eyeball test fit here. He is a little larger than the... I don't know what this is. I think it's a 65 amp or 60 amp ESC. I don't really have that many specs on it. I know this is a 550 motor. I don't know the tooth count of the pinion or the spur. So it looks like this could probably go in the factory location. I might have to do some trickery with the wires. But I think that'll go. Oh yeah, this will be good. I think it'll fit. We're going to do a quick test fit of the components to make sure everything's working, and then we'll start to tear down the 104001. Steering is most important, so that goes in channel 1. The servo goes in channel 1. I believe looks like on the Dumbo RC X6FG receiver, the negative is the outside pin, and I'm pretty sure black is the negative here. So we'll stick that there. ESC goes into channel 2. Alright, we'll connect the battery. Give it a little turn, see if she turns on. Looks like servo is working. Looks like the motor's working. Double check the throttle here. Throttle is only... Yeah, there we go. Throttle is only at 75. Alright. Looks like everything's good here. All the electronics are working. All the components work. The receiver seems to be bound to the transmitter already. So all that's left is to tear down the buggy and start to fit this in there. Just a quick note of caution: if you're attempting to do something like this, where you're using parts specifically for the servo horn that doesn't necessarily work with the servo, you can see here that this one went to its reset position, basically in an orientation that's not going to work. You notice the horn is not 90 degrees, either straight this way at 0 or 90 degrees here. Its rest position is off 0. In this one, if you look in the buggy, the servo is laying flat with the horn straight up a 90 degree this way. So before you cinch the servo horn down, you're probably going to want to connect your components like to the battery and the ESC and turn on your transmitter to let the servo position reset to 0. Then put your horn on and try to lock it to, in this particular case, a 90 degree before you cinch everything down. Alright, there we go. I got it locked down pretty close to 90. Let's see if she's still going to turn. Looks pretty good. I think that'll work. Alright, let me strip this apart. We'll get the parts laid into the buggy chassis and go from there. So the teardown on this doesn't look all that complicated, but it looks like a lot of the screws are on this side. And just to be safe, I think I'm going to remove the wing. The one thing I am a little concerned with about this conversion is this size battery is pretty difficult to find in a 3S with a higher capacity. These are 2200 milliamp hour 2S batteries. Since the ESC is capable of 3S, I'm going to try to figure out a way to cram a 3S in here with the maybe 3000 milliamp hour, or I maybe 2200 could stay the same, but I'm having difficulty finding 3S packs with this dimension between the length and width this way. I mean, there's some room for height, but you know, this area is pretty tight for this. So this is one thing I am a little concerned with. For testing purposes, I don't have a problem with just velcroing or zip tying a battery into the buggy to get it going, but long term, that's not something I'm interested in. I want it to be as repeatable and safe as possible. I'll turn this overhead light on. The ESC has pretty much one screw right here on the bottom of the buggy. Looks like it's this one. We'll take this out. One of the cons I have on this vehicle, and others kind of mirror my sentiment a little bit, that all this hardware is Philips hardware. I don't know how much the cost would increase, especially on a large scale, to swap this out to hex button heads or something like that, but it's one of the things I notice. It's one of the things that kind of ticks me off about some of the other vehicles is the Philips hardware, especially, you know, or specifically since most of the time the de facto standard is some kind of hex. So most people working on RCs have a series or multiple series of hex drivers from 1.5 mil to 3 millimeters. I have like 4 or 5. I mean, there's 2 on my desk. I have these stubby ones, and then the drill bit adapters. There's a lot of other things to like. So you know, when my video on this comes out, you'll probably have already watched it before this one, hopefully. But you'll see what I'm talking about. There's a couple other things that I kind of want to get to discussing, not necessarily for this video, but you'll probably see it. Like one of my shocks, you can probably see that this shock has already leaked out most of its fluid. I don't know if it's unique to mine. I haven't done a whole lot of research, but you know, it's one of the common things about some of these vehicles is the oil-filled shocks may leak, and this one does. The other thing on mine particular, maybe not widespread, but mine particular, is my ESC fan doesn't spin. I mean, it spins, but it, you know, doesn't turn on with the vehicle. Alright, so it looks like it's a screw. Actually, I'm dumb. I'm a little bit of a dummy. It looked like that's how it was adhered, but that screw has absolutely nothing to do with the ESC, and it looks like the ESC is just double-sided taped on there. Alright, so this must be to the plastic guard here. We'll put that back in. Yep, there we go. Just a little bit of double-sided tape. And it looks like, undo the servo. Looks like they just kind of tuck back on this this top plate here. There's a vertical bar, a riser bar, right here. Looks like the servo wire and the battery Dean's leads just kind of tuck back underneath there. Let's see if we can't get a little bit of room. We'll take out the servo first, which looks like it's going to be 2 screws here, 1, 2, and 2 screws here, 1, 2. I believe those will be these 4 screws. We'll give that a try. One of the interesting things about this vehicle, and frankly one of the things that kind of scares me a little bit, is coming from the monster truck world where steering setup and suspension geometry isn't critical, you know, especially if you're just going to be jumping over dirt piles. Looking at all the adjustability and some of the angles on the suspension components for this, it's pretty clear it's a whole different world than just making sure the parts are there, like on a monster truck. I'm looking at these links right here, and I don't know if you can see, but there's, like, without moving the arm, there's a lot of play in that wheel. Trying to figure out how to tune that out is definitely something I'm not used to. But that's one of the things we do in this hobby, is learn stuff on the fly, right? I don't know if you can see this. There is a little interference with the rubber coming out of the case on the S651. I'm a little hesitant to modify this part since I only have one of these. I might try to trim this back or just leave it alone for now and use it as a test case. We'll see what happens. I think, even though it doesn't look like it's going to seal up tightly, I think I can still get the holes to line up. So we're going to try that. If that doesn't work, trim this notch, or notch this back a little bit. Didn't really get any real estate to squeeze this Dean's connector through there. I mean, it's notched like it wants to let me, but tolerances are pretty tight. I think it's meant for this. Like, I don't know if you can see, you probably can't see it, but there's a notch in this, there's a notch in this plate right here that basically fits the dimensions of this Dean's plug, but it just doesn't quite slip in there because the edge of the Dean's connector isn't quite flat. It's kind of rounds out a little. Oh, yep, there we go. Look at that. Alright, cool. So if you do try to take yours apart, slip the head of the Dean's connector right into that little notch right there. One of the cool things about filming, especially on a tabletop like this where most of the time you can see the parts that I'm working on is forensically when I inevitably forget where I pulled something from. I can just go to the tape. Unintended benefit of playing around on YouTube. Alright, so I don't see anything besides this one screw that probably directly connects to the motor mount. So I think it's just this one, and then we might have to look at how to get this mount out of here. That one must be it, because this definitely has Loctite on it. Or some kind of thread locker. I don't know if you can see it. Put it against the dark. See the white thread locker? Okay, so I'm going to try taking this plate off. It was these 4 screws with Loctite, and then you have to pry up to separate it. I guess we'll take the cover off here, see if this part breaks open. Take a look at the spur and the pinion. Yeah, looks like metal, full metal spur. Fantastic mesh. Metal pinion. I don't know how many teeth. It's still not apparent to me how the motor comes out. There we go. Before I forget, I'm going to go ahead and mark on here which side was the front. Alright, so we got a mark for front side, rear side, and an arrow for the front. Because I definitely feel like I could screw that up. That's interesting. It looks like this front dog bone is a little thicker than the rear dog bone. So maybe this one? Yep, I feel like that's it. Bingo. So that screw is important. I believe we took out this one, and probably a lot more that we didn't need to. See, the pinion might be a 2. Yep. So we're going to take these 2 screws out of the motor mount. They're Loctited very tightly. They still have a little bit of goo on them. If it's supposed to be a sliding mount, which I believe it is, it's on there really tight. I was hoping to be able to slide this off and get some leverage on the... Oh, there we go. I was hoping to be able to get the motor mount off. So I'm having a bit of difficulty getting this grub screw loose. I might need to heat it. Alright, there we go. That worked. Hit it with a lighter for a couple seconds. Broke out that factory Loctite. Still a little bit warm. It's still on there really good. I wonder if they put some kind of adhesive in the shaft. Try a few more seconds with the barbecue lighter here. I mean, I have some other pinions. We might be able to just sacrifice this one. I'm not able to get this sucker off. I don't know if there's some kind of adhesive. I've hit it with heat, a couple different pry attempts, and it's not really coming out of there. Let me count the teeth and see if I have something similar. Yep, I was finally able to get it. We put the heat on there for about 30 seconds. There we go. It's always a little bit daunting when you take a otherwise operational vehicle and strip it for no other reason than to put it back to operational. But that's part of the fun, I think. Alright, just for clarification's sake, I'm going to count the teeth in here and see if I had anything else that would have worked. So, looks like it's a 22 tooth pinion from the factory, and give me a second and I'll count the spur. Well, it looks like it's 71 or 72 teeth. I don't have a waterproof electronics box yet. I ordered a Red Cat one, or similar to a Red Cat one, off of Amazon, but it's not here yet. For now, I'm just going to put everything in the box and then, or in the chassis, and then when the waterproof box get here, we'll add that back in. We're just going to tape it for now. I have some VHB. Alright, I think that's okay. Let's see if this is going to work. What I should have paid attention to and didn't is how far on the shaft did the pinion go. How far on the motor shaft did the pinion come up. Looks like the Red Cat shaft is a fair amount larger, but this little bump here, I don't know what's in that. That might make up for some of the difference. Alright, after fumbling around with this for longer than I cared to admit, turns out the stock pinion is fine. It's just a lot of crud inside there. I melted it for a long time and then just banged on it with a rubber mallet until it seated all the way in there, and I think it'll work. So let me try to put this mount back together, and then I'll come back when all the pieces are set, and we'll get an idea what the layout looks like. The motor mount is these two screws on the bottom, this one and this one. You can tell because it's the outermost one on the motor side. It's this one and this one. Will loosen the bottom part of this mount right here. We'll zoom in a little bit. Then these two screws, this one and this one, lock in the motor position. Then you put the spur cover back on, and it's 3 screws right here. These are all of the top screws are button heads, the round type. All of the bottom ones are countersunk flat type. Get your mesh set, put everything back together, make sure it rolls freely, Mine rolls a little tight, but the mesh is good, so maybe that's just the way it is. We'll see how it runs. I'm going to put the rest together and we'll come back and fire it up. Everything is basically in. I'd like to readdress the power button and some of the cable management, but all the components are in. So let's fire up the radio, turn her on, see what we get. Well, it looks like the steering trim is crazy, but she works. We're hanging the battery off the back. We gotta thought I'd mount the GoPro on top. I guess it's not necessarily catastrophic, but the servo horn came off of the servo linkage right there. Maybe I'll put the factory plastic part back on just for testing purposes. But anyway, you can see the upgrade. We have the red cat motor, 3650 3800 kV, the 85 amp Spectrum, Dumbo RC transmitter, the Big Rock servo, and this aftermarket horn that's probably going to go away. This battery system, I kind of mentioned it in the build video last night. I'm currently looking for some 3S batteries. I think the play is to get some of the smaller stubbies to kind of fit in this spot here. I might even consider just taking out the trays and using some of the Velcro straps that I have left over from my red cat that kind of go this way. Anyway, well, that's it. It's now brushless. We're going to fix these problems and see if we can't build a road hog out of this sucker. I was able to find a 3S pack that fits in that little space here. It's a little taller than the factory battery and a tad bit wider this way, but as you can see, it does fit, and I can't get the cover on. I gotta smush the wires down, but the cover does go on. It's a E-Flight 2200 milliamp hour 3S pack. Not the highest C rating at only 30C, but it fits, and that's the biggest thing right now. Let me set up my GPS and we'll put the body on and we'll do a 3S speed test. So I'm going to show you the cool little startup sequence on this SPLINES. It's the reason why I picked this instead of the BLX 100 is I just kind of like the startup noises it makes. I know it's stupid, but it's the little things. Also, quick note on the Dumbo RC receiver, transmitter and receiver, you can see right now it's in gyro mode. The light green is gyro mode. And the channel 6 option on the transmitter is it's basically all the way down. It's pretty much as low strength as you can get. You can see the wheels still compensating, but just barely. Anyway, let me get the cover on this and get the GPS set up, and we'll do some speed runs for 3S. After some failed attempts with the VHB, this is what we're going with. It's just going to be some good old and clear packing tape and a prayer. Alright guys, that was a couple of full throttle clean passes. Let's see what we got. Looks like 31 miles an hour. Feels faster than that. I had the same issue with testing my granite voltage. It wasn't until I borrowed somebody else's dynamite that, it was a Sky RC, to get an accurate reading. At any rate, it definitely cooks.